Good morning, everyone, and welcome to High Trust Coaching Live. I am Bourman. I am the Divisional President for High Trust Coaching, and I have with me today one of our master level coaches, Wayne Angelo. Good morning, Wayne.
Good afternoon in my area. Good morning.
That's right. You're on the East Coast. Good afternoon.
Right.
How's your day going so far, Mr. Wayne?
You know, it's lovely. It's a little bit of an overcast day, but that's okay. We needed the rain, and
Yeah.
I'm not uber slammed today, so I'm enjoying that, and today's gonna be a good day.
Well, good. Terrific. Well, I'm so excited to have you on. I mean, I love it when you and I have these conversations. And so, today, Wayne and I are going to talk about the high trust interview. We're going to be talking about building relationships. We're going to be talking about the importance of the high trust interview. And I think that what's really going to be important for Wayne and I to be really kind of driving in is that when I was on Sales Mastery and I was watching all of the chats going by, people that have not been familiar with the high trust business methodology, a lot of questions were coming across the feed saying, what's the high trust interview? What's the high trust interview? Where can I get it? And then we've got our elite members talking at Sales Mastery saying, if you master one thing, it's going to be master the high trust interview and you will master your business. So that's why Wayne and I thought, well, why don't we unpack that today? Right, Wayne?
Sounds great. And there's a reason why I wanted to do this today, Hope.
Uh-huh.
In a coaching session recently, I was talking to one of my coaching members, great discussion. He said, I'm getting ready to do my realtor presentation.
Mm-hmm.
And I stopped him in his tracks. And I think of what Todd said. We must learn that the key to selling is not selling. It is providing. And the key to providing is knowing in advance what to provide. So I said to him, are you going to go in there and do a presentation? And what are you going to provide? And he didn't know. So he had this whole big thing ready, a presentation. I'm saying, okay, let's say you're going out on a date. And it's a girl you want to get to know. And all you do is talk about yourself all night. Just sit there and present about how wonderful you are and all the great attributes you have. And how's that going to turn out? You know, is that really what you're out there to do? Are you out there to present? Are you out there to discover?
Mm-hmm.
And that goes back to the selling cycle, right?
Yeah.
So interview means to fact find. Most salespeople, when they go into a selling situation, start selling.
Mm-hmm.
Or like that date.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, do I even like this person I'm sitting across the table from?
Mm-hmm.
I really like them at all. So it's a two-way interview.
Mm-hmm.
It's not transactional, Hope, but I think that's the point.
Yeah.
That most people, when they get into the selling cycle, are transactional. When selling is not about transaction.
Mm-hmm.
That's the end result
Mm-hmm.
of the interview but how do you know what to provide if you don't ask questions to discover what your needs are? Does that make sense, Hope?
Exactly, Wayne. It's kind of like learning your prospective partner's love language, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. And you can't discover that. And I love that. So, let's, kind of shift the paradigm a little bit from going into that presentation as to sell and shift the mindset to going into that presentation to discover.
You know, it's really funny. A great agent that I know real well, one day I called her. Her name was Casey. And I said, send her the book, went through the process.
Uh-huh.
Casey, I'd really like to grab lunch with you and interview you. And she actually said to me, she goes, I know your end game, Wayne. I do. I love your approach. And we had a great lunch together and just have become great friends since. But it's sort of like that date. I really go back to that because it's so important. Do you think the person sitting across the table from you on that date was going to be enamored by you if the whole time you talk about how wonderful you are,
Mm-hmm.
and all the great things you bring to it?
Mm-hmm.
And and I'll go back to an interview I had with one of the biggest realtors in town. I won't mention his name because it's too rude. But I met him at a big event, and I said, hey, let's use the name Mick. Hey, Mick, I said, why don't we grab lunch? He goes, that'd be great, Wayne. So we sit down at a nice restaurant. And the first 5 minutes of the conversation, he goes, the reason I use Steven Tyler of Aerosmith Mortgage or Aerosmith Title Company is every once in a while Steven hands me an envelope full of cash.
Mm-hmm.
He said that directly to my face. And he used the real names, not Steven Tyler of Aerosmith Title, but he used the girl's name and the title company.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized immediately, because I looked at him and said, I'm not your guy, Mick. I'm not your guy.
Yeah.
I realized immediately that I don't want to do business with this guy. So I think that people forget that it's not a presentation.
Yes.
And selling is convincing. Selling is my agenda,
Mm-hmm.
not the agenda of the person I'm sitting across the table from. And
Yeah.
I want to discover their agenda. What's their purpose? What's success mean to them in business and in personal? And I go back to Tony Markland. If you remember the interview he had, 19,
Mm-hmm.
back to his biggest agent of 15 years, did the high trust interview after 15 years of a relationship. He never did it. And that
Mm-hmm.
relationship went deeper than it ever went,
Mm-hmm.
stronger than it's ever been. So I think that we have to remember the word interview,
Mm-hmm.
fact find. And
Mm-hmm.
if we go out there with the purpose of presenting,
Mm-hmm.
what facts are we finding, Hope?
Right. And I think, Wayne, that prospective partners will be much more willing to have that conversation if they get a call saying, Wayne, I'd like to interview you. Heard a lot of great things about you and your business. We've done a few deals together. I'd like to spend a few minutes and get to know your business better, get to know you and your business better. I'm thinking that they would be much more receptive to that conversation. And even, for the agent going into that conversation, they're almost going to be expecting a presentation.
That's right.
They're going to be expecting to be sold. And if you start off that conversation with our high impact intro, a lot of people think I'm in the business of doing mortgage loans. I really don't see it that way. I see my primary role as helping my partners be as successful as they care to be. With this in mind, talk to me a little bit about what does success mean to you? I mean, that's a wow. This is not how this meeting was supposed to go.
Well, and as Todd has said, the power of the answer is directly related to the importance of the question,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I'll tell another story from coaching. One of my coaching members came to one day and he said, I called my financial planner and I asked him who's the best realtor in town, and I called that realtor and said, my financial planner asked me to give you a call.
Mm-hmm.
I said, well, that's a lie. It was a lie. It's not the truth.
Mm-hmm.
What about saying a scripting of something like this?
Mm-hmm.
I asked my financial planner who the best realtor is in town, the person has the best service that really cares about the client experience, and he gave me your name.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to know more about you. I want to know more what makes you tick. Why would he give me your name of all the realtors in town? So I'd like to get to know you better.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a brutally honest answer. I asked him who's the best. He gave me your name. And it's funny, Hope, because this particular coaching member, I've been coaching for about 4 months.
Mm-hmm.
He just got a case of the $6,000 egg book, the new book, the 10 New Golden Rules.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, Wayne, I read the book for the first time.
Ah.
And all the coaching for the last 4 months, it clicked. I get it now.
Fantastic.
I get it. I didn't understand it before of what amazing really looks like. And I was still selling. And the hardest thing that I find in coaching is to help people understand the difference between selling and interviewing. And as Todd says, providing. But if you don't
Providing.
know what to provide,
Mm-hmm.
how can you provide it? So I go back to the sales pyramid, right? Add
Mm-hmm.
value, know who you want to target, do the high trust interview, fact finding, discovery. But people forget they try and do the third stage and the second stage. They try and do all the solutions while they're doing the interview. And the solutions, they turn back to selling again
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
versus saying more like, I learned a lot about you today. I'd like to incubate on some of the things we've learned about each other today and come back with some ideas that would help us grow our businesses and help you be more successful.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you do stage 3 correctly, you don't have to ask for business.
Mm-hmm.
And I always end up going back to the book, The Law of the Dress Rehearsal, and I have it open in front of me with some targeted pages to hope.
Uh-huh.
And it says, the truth is most salespeople are not prepared to succeed when opportunities present themselves. Most salespeople are not sure how to proceed in a selling situation. They usually end up talking too much and listening too little.
Yes.
Most salespeople are not prepared to earn a customer's trust, so they generally don't. And I think about our political arena today. Who do we trust?
Mm-hmm.
Nobody. High trust doesn't just happen. While you can haphazardly persuade, manipulate, or con customers into buying your product or service from time to time, you can't earn their authentic trust and lasting business that way. And it's really, and if you haven't read High Trust Selling, read it. But the insights are dramatic. I mean, and it's real. And I keep going back to that date. I really do, because you are dating this potential business client to know you really want to be in a relationship with this person. If the answer is no, it's no. And no is an okay answer. But if you go in there and simply try and sell, what are you going to achieve? I was talking to one of my coaching members this week, and he said he went to a training, and the training said, ask every realtor, what can I do to get 15 minutes of your time? And my response would be, if I were the realtor, well, what are you going to do in those 15 minutes? It's a come on. It's just the old assumptive close, which is better to me, Tuesday or Wednesday. Everybody knows these close. Everybody knows these approaches anymore. What they don't know.
Well, I'm going to stop you there for just a minute, Wayne. And the thing is that, it's a conversation that's been coming up a lot. And that is what you were talking about right now, is what are we saying to that prospect or prospective referral partner that is going to compel them to have that conversation with you? And if, so what is that conversation, that will compel them to say, I want to meet with Wayne? When we call and say, we do the approach, and you mentioned the approach for a minute. So talk to us a little bit about the approach for those of us those are people listening that may not know the approach.
Well, the approach of how to get 15 minutes of your time is terrible. So I don't want you to think that I was promoting that. I think I'm the antithesis of that. So first, I do love the approach of adding value. I was a loan officer doing 35 to 40 loans a month, and I don't do that much anymore because I'm just at a different stage in my career. But what I discovered when I went to the seminars and trainings from Todd decades ago was add value. So what I did is I immediately went out and found articles of interest. Things that would interest my database, my clients, like 10 home improvements that add value to your home. I had a whole library of articles, and I would literally go out to realtors and just give information on an ongoing basis. I love the book idea, works tremendously. I love the 10 new golden rules of the customer experience. Outside of Todd's books, one of my coaching members turned me onto a book this week called The Go Giver. And I'm listening to. I love the book. Thank you, Travis, for that. That's a great book.
Yeah, Travis is listening this morning. So good morning, Travis. Greg.
Yes, and he turned me onto that book, and I'm about halfway through it, and we both agreed. He listened to it several times, so will I. The point is, are we giving or are we asking? Are we providing or are we selling? So the conversation first starts by adding value. Hope, sales pyramid. I love sending the book, the $6,000 egg book, or the new 10 new customer rules. The reason I like that the best is it does represent my mindset.
Yes.
So when I send you a book of what's important to me, it tells you what's important to me. Getting you a book to read and enjoy. And, we've gone through some different product processes. I had one coaching member send out the book with a dissertation of how he could add such value to his clients and blah, 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 blah. Crickets, no responses. Or send the book and say, Jim, I checked around, and from what I understand, you really care about the customer experience. Here's the book. I hope you enjoy. Thank you very much, Wayne Angelo. Done. Done. No selling. And 9 out of 10 times they're going to call and thank you for the book. But if they don't, and where most people fall flat, is they don't follow up.
Right.
The book is good. So then the next step is, once they call you or you get in touch with them about the book, so, I really have checked you out, and I've researched who you are, and I know you really care. I'd like to spend a little bit of time with you, get to know you better, and see why you were referred to me as somebody who cares about the clients.
Right.
And that sets up the stage for the interview.
Right. So let's talk about that for just a minute. One of the things that we do a lot in coaching is we establish our target agents. So we identify and truly take a look at their current referral partners. How much business are they doing? Do they have the capacity to be referring a minimum of 5 leads or 5 new clients a month each? Are they doing the same level of business? Are they invested in their business? And so we do that with their current partners. And 9 times out of 10, we find that the current partners may be able to support them at a 25% level, and which obviously makes it very, very clear that we now need to go out and target new agents, new relationships. And when we're targeting those agents, what are we looking for, Wayne? Initially, are we looking for that agent that is strong buyer agent, that agent that is double ending, that agent that is actively engaged in the business? How do we target? What is the criteria for targeting new agents?
Depends. I think it depends on the individual focus. My focus is who's going to help create the best customer experience. Because in the reality of our business today, in the Quicken and the Rocket and all the really non-emotionally connecting platforms out there, first trying to find somebody who cares about building a long-term business. For every customer you do a piece of business with, you should get one referral every 3 years. So the first thing I want to look for is somebody who has drive, of course, but somebody who honestly cares and is not transactional. Now, on the other hand, if they are transactional, then my task is to help them become more emotionally connective and actually coach that realtor. So yes, I want high volume realtors. No question about it. Like the realtor that I had lunch with that asked me for money. He's an extremely high volume realtor with a big team. I'm not interested in that individual.
Not interested. Exactly. And the thing is, so that it is, the high volume, is a criteria, but it's not the only criteria.
Well,
right?
I mean, look, there's guys in companies doing 100 loans a month. We know that's out there. And but we can make an amazing living in our business by doing 20, 30 loans a month, an amazing living, making more money than we can really, most people can even fathom. So I need 5 realtors giving me, 5 loans a month, 10 realtors giving me 3 loans a month. But it's more about the relationship. It's not about the quantity of how many realtors or referral partners being lawyers or financial planners, but the quality of the customer experience for the long-term referrals. And in my world today, a lot of my business is referrals from prior customers. The vast majority of it is. And when I had a customer call me yesterday and say, you helped us on our last 3 homes. That is so humbling. And that's with the mindset that we are out there to serve people, not a transaction, it's family buying a home. So yes, I want high volume realtors. No question about that. But I'd rather have 10 realtors giving me 2 loans a month that are high quality, emotionally connective, service oriented, than 2 realtors give me 10 loans a month that just beat me up all day long and it's all transactional. And then my task, Hope, is to work with them to help to make sure that together we create a great client experience. Does that make sense?
Exactly. Sure, absolutely. So, so that's the approach. Is obviously targeting agents that are, that are doing the volume, that are investing as much time in their business as you are investing in your own. That creates a great partnership, and that shares the same level of core values. That wants to create that customer experience, that that 5-star customer experience. So that's the approach, and that's what you're going in at. And then you go into the high trust interview, and you start to learn and discover more about that person and what success looks like to them. What are their dreams? What are their goals? And how do they define great communication? How do they define, closing on time? How do they define, a partner, that they can trust, right? So that no matter if a deal goes south, it's not the immediate, Wayne, it's your fault. You did this and you did this and that type of thing. But it is the immediate, hey, Wayne, this problem came up. How do we solve this together?
Well, and I'll step back a few steps backwards in this a little bit. The selling starts, or the way before that, when I call my title companies and I say, you know what, Bill, you know what, Sandy, who's the best realtor in town that cares about the customer experience? What am I telling that title company? And that is also a very soft sell, who I'm looking for. When I call my financial planner and say, who is the best that in the real estate industry that creates a great client experience, that really cares about their clients, that is also a soft sell of what's important to me. And that's how you discover who you want to target
Mm-hmm.
by asking
Mm-hmm.
people that you know, like, and trust. That's the same old adage.
Mm-hmm.
And then you find out who do you want to call on. And
Mm-hmm.
it's funny, when I was talking to one of my coaching members, he finally yesterday realized that this is a marathon, not a sprint.
Yes.
And he finally it finally said, Wayne, it finally clicked. The whole
Mm-hmm.
high trust interview, the whole non-selling, when he read the egg book 4 months into coaching, he said it all finally clicked to me. I finally get it. I get
Mm-hmm.
it now.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't
Mm-hmm.
realize it, that every time I'm talking to somebody, even though I don't want to be, I was selling.
Exactly.
And I used to
Exactly.
break
So
that cycle.
I'm seeing a note here from Wayne, from Trevor Hammond, which is also one of our coaches. So hello, Trevor. Nice to have you. So it says, Wayne, any tips for loan officers on a new realtor that doesn't do business in the ideal way yet, but could be coached on a whole new way, meaning they don't know what they don't know. That's great, Trevor. I love that. So ideas on changing their perception of what a realtor loan officer relationship could be like.
I'm going to go back to Tony on this one, to be honest with you. When my first coaching call with Tony, he was firing his number one realtor.
Mm-hmm.
He just was firing her because in his marketplace, every loan, every transaction has a 10-day automatic extension.
Mm-hmm.
She would write a 21-day contract and close in 28 days.
Mm-hmm.
But there'd always be stress to get it, because the expectations weren't set correctly. So
Mm-hmm.
he coached her and said, listen, one thing I want you to understand is, are you getting the referrals you deserve?
Mm-hmm.
So how do we create a better experience together? And he convinced her to write 31-day contracts and close in 28 days
Mm-hmm.
and change the whole customer experience by helping her understand the value of the referrals she should be getting,
Yes.
that she wasn't getting. She wasn't, it's a bold question, but ask a realtor a question like this. This is a hard question.
Mm-hmm.
You ever met with a customer or worked with a client who ended up buying a piece of real estate from another realtor?
Mm-hmm.
And you watch the look in their faces when you ask this question. And then the next question is, what can we do to stop that from happening?
Sure.
So I think we have to coach them on the value of relationship building
Mm-hmm.
and not selling,
Mm-hmm.
but discovering.
Mm-hmm.
It's no different. I went to buy a car not too long ago. I'm with the guy 2 minutes. He goes, "What can I do to sell you a car today?" I said, "Nothing." He lost me immediately. I was done. It was over. There was no more, because his agenda was to sell me a car,
Right.
not
Sure.
to help me buy one.
Right. Right.
So to
Exactly.
answer that question, what we learn in high trust coaching is relevant in all industries.
Sure.
So take the same methodologies and help your realtor understand, through a partnership with you, how
Mm-hmm.
together you can create a better experience so that everybody gets more referrals, which is how we compete with the non-emotionally connecting Quickens rockets who are transactional,
Sure.
who don't know what they're doing like we
Right.
do. Does that answer the question a little bit?
Yeah, I think it certainly does, and I love the concept, and I love the idea that Trevor poses, and that is, how do we coach our referral partners? I mean, who maybe don't get it yet and don't really truly understand our methodology or our approach to our business, but maybe it's something we can coach them to, because in the beginning, if we're saying my primary role is to help you be as successful as you care to be, part of that is going to be around coaching up and maybe shifting mindset a little bit to maybe be better at what they do, right? Maybe improve their process, improve their conversations, improve their listing interviews, right? Improve their buyer interviews and that type of thing. So I love that idea and I love that question. And for anybody that's missed it, Todd Duncan is doing an interview today with Marty Rodriguez and her longtime referral partner, Norma Morales. It's going to be at 1:30 today. It was not shown on Sales Mastery, so it's never been seen before. And I remember when Todd did this interview, and he did it here at the office, and he got off the interview and he went, "Wow, that is going to be such an amazing interview. I mean, he was just lit up with how amazing that interview was. So I highly encourage everybody to watch it today. It's going to be this afternoon at 1:30. And I'm sure everybody has already gotten a notification on it. If you haven't, just go to High Trust Today. It's there. And so make sure you watch it, because this is the very thing that we're talking about. So if you want to see and understand what a top performing power partnership looks like, Marty Rodriguez and the team that delivers the dream have sold $4.7 billion in real estate collectively, and ranked in her company as #1 sales team in the nation for 24 years. She's doing something right.
A lot of things right.
She's doing a lot of things right. So I just wanted to kind of throw that in there and make sure everybody was tuning in on that as well. So Wayne,
Hope, I gotta mention this though.
Sure, yeah, please do.
You and the terminology, partnership.
Uh-huh.
I don't think a lot of loan officers are in partnership with their realtors.
Yes.
I think a lot of loan officers are looking for transactions, and they're not having partnership discussions of what to do and what's in it for the realtor.
Yes.
What's in it for them?
Sure.
What's in it for them is a long-term stable platform of raving fans that send them business, come back to them. And if anybody talks about lending, immediately they say, you have got to talk to my lending partner. But I don't think most loan officers look at realtors as partners, but as sources.
Yes. Yes. Wayne, thank you so much for bringing that up, because again, that is another thing that we need to be paying attention to, that what we are looking to do, what our coaching members are looking to do, what everyone in our industry is looking to do, is to build partnerships. And if we can get really good at building partnerships and developing partnerships and leveraging those relationships to serve everyone involved, yes, then we've got something that, the world opens up for us, right?
No question, but it also goes back to behaviors too.
Sure.
These are not sources. These are people. These are not houses. These are homes. These are families. These are friends. My top realtors and I are on a very intimate level with each other. We know each other well. The value systems are the same. And truthfully, there's 1,500 realtors in my market. I need 10 or 15 to do all the business I need to do to, I can grow beyond that. But they're partners, there's trust. What does Todd say? Trust is the hardest thing to gain.
Yes.
Easiest thing to lose.
Right.
And the most important thing to hold on to. Are you dealing with your partners with trust, or as a source of revenue? And it's a completely different approach, Hope. And we can coach people in our platform of how to work with their realtors and how to coach to realtors, their referral partners, to create a more high trust platform. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does, Wayne. And it goes to, retention, right? We might be very good at building those relationships, but cultivating those relationships and pouring into those relationships on a regular basis, obviously creates retention. So we never have to really truly worry about, some new shiny object with, coming up to a real estate agent or a partner that we have. We don't have to worry about the shiny objects, because that relationship is a partnership. We support each other.
What Todd says, if you forget about them, they'll forget about you.
Yeah.
So are you having, weekly or monthly, power sessions with your partners? Are you staying in touch with them? Are you calling, using the circle of spokes to influence, to call that listing agent to see if you like them, see if you want to target them as somebody to do business with? There's so many opportunities, but they're usually like people step over dollar bills to pick up quarters, and I just don't understand it sometimes.
Right.
There's so many. If you just look at the people transaction, and they're not a source, they become friends and they become partners, and it's long standing. But you gotta let them know that. You gotta emotionally connect with them. It's like that date. You want to get the second date and the third date, and you're going to decide later on if you really want to continue that relationship. And so will they, hope.
Well, yeah, and the thing is that I think it's also, that's the whole, annual review, the annual mastermind that we're doing with our partners today. And we're like actually fourth quarter is when we're doing partner, masterminds. We're doing partner interviews. Like, what have we been able to accomplish this year? What did we learn? What do we want to do in 2021? And how can I help you win? And and those types of conversations that we're consistently and continually helping them grow their business, and with that mindset of of the partnership. I'm here to again provide, offer service, offer information, offer insights, and even kind of work through some of those things. And I think that one of the things that we've found is with some of our coaching members is they have good partnerships, they have good relationships, and they feel as though they're getting, they are the preferred lender, until they start pulling up their stats and find out that maybe they are and maybe they're not. But it's also helping the agent refer you better, present you in the best light better. Right. So we have a script, as you well know, Wayne. We have a script, which is our conversion conversations, and it's something that we give to our agents to refer us. Can you talk to us a little bit about that, Wayne?
We're going to run long. I'm good. I'm totally cool with that. Believe it or not, it's already been a half an hour.
Oh my God, has it really? Well, just tell me a little bit then.
All right. I think I would like to let Todd, use Todd's scripts. It's better than I could ever do. But what is the purpose of the script? Mm-hmm. Like Todd says, the key to providing is knowing in advance what to provide. The purpose of the script is to know what to say before you get there. Mm-hmm. If you're not prepared, I go through role playing with my coaching members. Uh-huh. And it's just so interesting because it's so easy to get them right back into selling. Mm-hmm. I'll have them be the realtor or I'll be the loan officer, and I'll ask them questions, and they immediately go back to selling. Mm-hmm. But they're not prepared. If you're not prepared, one of my best friends said to me decades ago, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail.
Absolutely.
And I think of any great performance. I go see concerts, as you can tell by my wall. I love music. But when Joe Bonamassa comes out and does a show for 2 hours, he warmed up for 3 hours before the show.
Sure.
Are we warming up? Are we practicing? Or are we winging it? Because all the top performers in any industry, any play, like Neil Peart from Rush, before he goes into a show, before he did go into a show, he'd practice for hours. Mm-hmm. Are we practicing? Are we prepared? Mm-hmm. I would say most of us are grossly underprepared.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Wayne. That was really important. Thank you for sharing that, because it's very, very true. If we need to focus on improving our game. That's all right. The time, every time.
That's what coaching does. It helps you focus. It also helps you focus on the behaviors.
Sure.
I was talking to one coaching member this morning, and he said, I still have 60 files in my drawer of people I haven't talked to in a long time. I said, well, what are you doing about it? I'm just too busy. I said, no, you're not too busy to take 1 hour a week and do videos.
Yeah.
You're not too busy.
You're not too busy.
What's every loan worth you? It's worth $2,000.
Right.
So if you take those 60 files, convert 5% of them, that in pay time is $7,500 an hour. Mm-hmm. Value following up with those people. Mm-hmm. And it really comes down to that. I know that, I'm sorry, I get long-winded, so.
That's okay. That's all right. But I love having our conversations with you, Wayne. So a couple of things before we sign off. One is, for anyone who's not in the coaching program, we've been talking a lot about our coaching members today. If someone who's not in the coaching program, you want to hear more about High Trust Coaching, what the program says, what the offerings are, go to hightrustcoaching.com. Talk to one of our coach consultants. I know they'd love to have that conversation with you. So take advantage of this day and go and jump in and do that. And the second thing is that we're always looking for new coaches as the company continues to grow, just like Wayne and Trevor and Cindy and Suzanne and all of our current coaches that we have right now. So it is a unique qualification to qualify as a high trust coach. So if you're interested and want to find out more, send me an email to hope.bourman@hightrustcoaching.com. I'd love to hear from you. And I will be starting a new certification class sometime early December. So I'd love to have some new people coming on. And I think that's all I have to say for myself today, Wayne, other than to say thank you so much for being a coach for High Trust. You bring immense value to our coaching members, and thank you for showing up today.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.